Anytime you hear that sound, just know it is time for your Boom Spot right here on Boom Radio NG. My name is Shola Rogers.
And I'm Cornelius.
And I'm Fola.
Together we will take you through the world of sports in a couple of minutes. And let's just dive right into it. We'll start from the EPL. Yes, we'll start from the EPL. And of course, Cornelius, the question is, what's happening? We hear that it's heating up now.
So, without a doubt, that title race is heating up. And Arsenal, are they going to bottle it up this season? We never can tell. Interesting, but one thing for sure is that race is going to be fascinating.
Yeah, it is going to be fascinating. I still think that Arsenal have it in their hands, but the second, third, and fourth position, basically positions for Europe next season, is definitely in contention between like 4 or 5 clubs. Yeah, so Arsenal, the title is in your hands and it's yours to lose.
It's yours to lose. Cornelius, you just went straight up and picked on Arsenal. I would like to find out why. Why is it because they are top of the league, or is there some insights that you have about?
I mean, looking at these fixtures, you can't help but fear for Arsenal. I mean, over the years they've tend to bottle up their positions. Especially going into these last 13 games. And looking at these fixtures here, it's not any easy for them. Like for instance, next up, Man City will be playing on Wednesday, and they have a favorable fixture. If there's anything like a favorable fixture in the EPL today, all games are equally tough. But they'll be at home to Fulham. You expect by the way they played yesterday, they should get 3 points there. But that's just an expectation. But you at least bank on them too. On the other hand, Arsenal have a very tricky fixture away at Brentford. Brentford flying up high in 7th position, you understand, and a very, very formidable team at home. Interesting to see how that one plays out. And of course, there is the playing first advantage which City has, that will play psychologically on Arsenal when they take to the pitch on Thursday against Brentford.
All right, Fola, you want to chip in?
Yeah, I think the game against Brentford is definitely going to be an interesting one. Brentford, I think, like Mr. Cornelius said, there's no match in the EPL that is predictable these days. But I think Arsenal have a good grasp on how to control matches. In terms of, Arsenal, they are an exciting team, but they are not exciting to a fault where they just lose control of the game. They try to create chances while still being structurally intact and defensively intact. So I think that's the difference between Arsenal and a lot of other teams. They have a certain control over games, and that's why I feel like they're still going to pull through at the end of the day. Plus, it's a different team, different players, different manager. I feel like this is their season. It has to be their season. It's in their hands,
like you said, it's their season to lose. I feel like as if if it were any other team chasing after them, I probably feel maybe, that's like, okay, and the fact that it's Pep Guardiola, I feel like that's an added plus.
But don't you think Man City have underperformed this season, especially in recent matches compared to Arsenal?
I feel like Man City have underperformed, and I also feel like Arsenal have not been so super either. I feel like Arsenal are on top of their league, yes, because they've garnered more points than every other team. But I don't see that X factor about Arsenal. I don't see that wow factor about Arsenal right now. You spoke about them being, keeping the psychological control on the game, and winning games, and trying not to, keeping a structure which is solid, and that's the basis which they started the league. But even at that, looking at recent fixtures, you understand, you get me. There are a lot of D's in there. You understand, talking about draws, you get me, and of course the odd loss. You understand, that for me is not championship form. I feel like the competition in the league this season is extremely high. The level is extremely high. And, I just feel like as if, Arsenal, over the years, they bottled it. Yeah, they say strength in depth might actually see them through.
Yeah, I think that's another factor that will.
You understand? But, I just can't help but have that feeling that they just might bottle it. And, looking at these fixtures here, you get me, leading up to, when they actually play City in the cup final, you understand? You get me, there are a couple of tough games there. City has a slightly easier path before the cup final. Of course, present form going to that cup final goes a lot to say who wins the first silverware of the season for competition. And of course, there's a chance they might even meet again in Champions League. They're on course to meet. So it might just be a story, a fairy tale story between Manchester City and Arsenal. Remember, they're all four of them, both of them are in all four contentions to win all four contentions, and that has never been done in England. Perhaps maybe Pep gives us the last hurrah, or perhaps Arsenal fans long awaited at least league comes to them.
Personally don't think Man City winning trophy this season even. Personally, I don't think it's looking. I think Champions League is going to be very, very tough for them. Champions League is very different from the Premier League, but I think it's going to be very tough for them. Arsenal, I think they are going to win the league. Then the Carabao Cup, I also think Arsenal is going. I don't know. I feel like they have a different drive this season.
Let's look at those fixtures closely. You understand? Arsenal, of course, like we discussed earlier, away at Brentford this week, while of course City goes first at home to Fulham. After that is the FA Cup. Arsenal plays Wigan, and of course they'll be looking to put out the second string team as so with City when they host Salford. And then there's this week, you understand, where the games might actually tip in Arsenal's favor, where Arsenal actually plays and City doesn't play. That will be an away game, away at Wolves. Congratulations to Tolu for a fantastic goal, even though it doesn't seem like as if there's any remedy for his team. His team will be relegated to the Championship. And then it is the North London Derby for Arsenal. When Arsenal plays the North London Derby, City will be away at Newcastle. Now, Newcastle, we know, will definitely struggle to make it into any of those Champions League positions this season. Their form has been horrific, showing over the weekend. Again, were very, very poor. You understand? Then we will be talking about that cup final. See? So their form leading up to that cup final is key. And who wins that cup final perhaps gets a psychological edge against the other one, in the run-ins to come.
What's your take, Mr. Sola?
Oh, well, I just basically, I'm going to say that Arsenal will win the EPL. I believe that they're not going to bottle it. I believe that they're just going to go all out and make it happen. I see a different Arsenal. They're not playing beautiful football. But they are getting results.
That's the thing. They don't have to.
They don't want to anymore.
They don't have to.
They just have to win matches. And they're getting results.
Exactly.
They're getting it.
That's it.
And that's the difference between what happened in previous seasons and what's happening now. And the squad depth is also working for them because you have key players injured and they're not missing them. And when those players come back, they're slotting seamlessly, like they were never away. Saka is out. We know what happened with Odegaard being out and all of that. And
you don't seem to feel it.
The rock solid back four. Whenever two of those guys in the center are out, you would think Arsenal will crumble, but they don't.
They don't.
And Raya has been a fortress. He already has as
12,
many
13 clean
13 and that's what got him the Golden Gloves last season. And there are over 10 more games to play, and he already has
13 more games to be precise. And number 13 is
that's
very significant.
Over 10,
because the number 13 is very significant because it was last season. Arsenal bottled it in the last 13 games last season, and they bottled it in the last 13 games the preseason before. So the number 13, are they going to kill that number this season, or is that number going to kill them? Interesting to see how that one pans out. And talking about that, those Champions League positions really heating up. Aston Villa losing momentum in the title race in recent times, but obviously looking strong and bangs on to make that Champions League position. And of course, there's a name nobody thought a couple of weeks will be in one of those positions. And of course, talking about Manchester United. Oh, Michael Carrick, where has he been all this while?
The turnaround in Man United is something like a fairy tale. It was personally, I think it was expected, but the thing is that Man U haven't played horribly this season. Even before they sacked Amorim, we weren't in a bad position. I think they were 6th or 7th before Amorim was sacked. So they weren't necessarily in a bad position. They weren't playing too bad. It was just the consistency and the playing style that was really just faltering with them.
Seriously?
And also,
Seriously?
I don't
Fola,
think.
I'll tell you what I think. And this may be harsh on Miguel Amorim. You see, Michael Carrick in 4 games has just trashed.
I agree.
Flushed down the toilet every philosophy, every history Amorim had with Manchester United. He's just flushed it down. He's just used the same team. And you see, I can tell you one thing I noticed in United winning those 4 games. They weren't just any 4 games. They were 4 huge games. And they didn't just play. They played the United way. You understand? What was not in it, the late goals, the strikes from outside. It was all United. You could almost feel like you're watching United in the 90s. At their peak. You understand? You get me? And he's just done that in 4 games. He might go on to get a couple of poor results when going on to the end of the season. But I still think he's the man for the job. You understand? I feel like you are either going to go out there and get one very, very top manager, and if you're not doing that, then you'd rather give Carrick the job. And the likes of also Chelsea have a say in that Champions League position. Liverpool, of course, will also have a say, in the Champions League position. And we understand that 5 teams, the 5th position will be good enough to get in the Champions League this season for the English.
Speaking of Chelsea, it looks like nobody's giving Liam Rosinho the kind of respect he deserves.
Oh no, I think really props to him. I think it's the same case as Man United. The former manager not really platforming the players too well.
No, I disagree. I think Maresca did fantastic.
Pretty similar.
I think Maresca was fantastic for Chelsea. They were competitive. You get me? Anytime they took to the pitch, which you could not say much for United. That was one of the things you would actually hold up against Miguel Amorim. There were times when they were not just competitive. When you came up against them, they were easy to play, easy to beat. You understand? All of that is not visible at the moment. But you see, with Chelsea, Maresca's team was total football. They were playing football. Like the Leeds. You can remember the Leeds
so
under
what
the Spanish
manager
where it was reckless, kind of reckless football.
So what would you say Rosinho is doing differently than Maresca that is making them sort a mildly better team to what Maresca was playing?
I don't see Chelsea as a slightly better team. I don't see anything drastic that has changed, in transition between the 2 managers. I feel like as if that team is a talented team, very, very young squad. And, with youths, you can expect, they go out of the way, how youths are. You understand? And I still see that in the team. You understand? I feel like as if he's a good manager, contrary to what a lot of people feel he did. He was doing fantastic with Strasbourg, and he's fitted in. That's what's key. I think he has a personality that works with that kind of big football club. That's key. Unlike one of his London rivals talking about Tottenham, who are in all sorts of at the moment. So I mean, he's got a good start to the season. Talking about the Chelsea manager, Rosinho.
All right, just still your Finix Sport right here on Boom Radio NG. We are on YouTube, Facebook, and of course boomradiong.com. If you're watching or listening, say a quick hello to us and let us know how you feel. You have a say. You can always have a say if you want to. It's open like that. So we are going to switch gears. We've done a whole lot of English Premier League. And of Cornelius, what's up?
Oh, of course, a lot of exciting sport over the weekend, but one that was not so exciting for me was Nigeria's representative at the CAF Championship, talking about Rivers United. I followed that game, as you got, being on the show for it, and
what happened?
It was disgraceful. They put the standard of football very poor. Of course, Nigeria went the Rivers. Sorry. Of course, Nigeria at the same time went ahead in that one with a powerful free kick. But you could see their style of football. It was nothing to write home about. And you see, looking at that, you ask with the amount of talent out there on the streets today. You understand? We're in the sport industry. We see these talents. How come they are not in position to at least showcase the brand of football that this country is known for? You put that out there and tell me that's the best to come out of Nigeria? I disagree. You understand? But how come Nigeria is being represented like that? That's a problem. Shola is an expert in this part, and it's interesting to hear what he has to say about this.
Look, the thing is, until we really go back to the basics, we always want to qualify for international tournaments, but we don't prepare properly for them. We don't play and prepare like the other people we're going to meet. And that's why, if you notice, at elite tournaments where the Super Eagles are involved, they do well to a large extent. But why? Because their players are abroad the coach is foreign. Do you understand all those things? But when it comes to the local game, we fool ourselves a lot with the way we officiate our games, and that officiating that helps them here, they can't get it on the continent. These are the truths here. Another problem that they have is that they don't prepare properly. How many friendly games do they play? Again, one other problem that we've had with our local teams is how it is difficult for them to keep one player for 3 seasons. You know, keep a team together. You want to win. Look at what Alali does. Look at what virtually everything that does well. The South Africans are doing it. You know, everybody's doing it except Nigeria. You have a player that's played Enyimba in this season. Next season, he's gone. He's gone. If he hasn't gone to another Nigerian team, he's gone to Benin Republic, or he's gone somewhere outside Nigeria to go and play professional, in quote. These are the issues. So for as long as we do not put proper structures in place, I say to you, if we're serious about it, nothing wrong with us actually allowing our representatives to have the best pick of players. You want your players to excel on the continent. You say, look, Enyimba, you have qualified. Rivers United, you have qualified. What's the other team that have qualified? 3 or 4 of them come together, play tournaments amongst themselves, prepare, get them good players, do training camps with them, treat them like they're a national team.
Okay, you see, I hear what you're saying. Shola. You see, but my concern in all of this is, you know, I watched that game and I saw the players representing Rivers United. I don't think they're good enough. And I know
that's what I'm saying.
They are raw talent out there on the street. But you see, now, the Rivers United job is not attractive enough to them. The league is not development enough for them. You understand? It is just in shambles. You understand? And it's beginning to rub on us. You can actually see it's visible. You understand? You know, back in the day, you know, it was obviously difficult, but the likes of Enyimba, you know, back then, you understand? You know, Pyramids of Egypt does not come and whitewash them the way they did at home. You understand? Probably they go at home, go away, they struggle to get the results, something. But at home, you could bank on them to win that game. I mean, but you don't see all of that. You know, I don't feel like the best players are actually up there. I feel like the best players from grassroots levels, I don't think they even see the jobs as attractive enough for them.
All right. One thing that's definitely attractive is what happened over the weekend. It was very historic. Daniel Adeleye inspired the national tennis team to this landmark 3-1 victory over Uzbekistan. You know, it happened at the Lagos Lawn Tennis Davis Cup World Group 2 is where we were playing in, and in about 19 years or there, but we've not even been able to host like this and play like this, and it was packed to the rafters. Lagos turned up for this game, and the players showed out.
Oh yeah, they did, and of course Adele right now ranking Nigeria #1, and of course with a lot happening around the tennis industry right now. And again, you know, you want to wonder, a lot of pledges going into grassroots lawn tennis at the moment. You know, a lot of pledges going into it. Are we actually going to go through with it? Because this is a chance. You see, with grassroots, what grassroots sport does is it actually gives the youth something appealing to do. You know, a chance at something. You understand? You know, and you see, that's where I feel we're failing as a nation. You understand? You get me? The simple things. You get me? Like, if you go to other countries, why are they very developed? You see, they have the sport facilities. You know, anybody can walk into easily. You know, a lot of effort put into grassroots. You understand? Right now, there's a lot of pledges going into lawn tennis, as I'm seeing, or it's all over the media. You know, are they really going to pull through? Because there's actually a chance here for these young stars to actually make it to the Davis Cup for the first time in 19 years.
All right, we are still talking sports here, and quickly let us move away from that and talk quickly of the Super Bowl, but not the general Super Bowl though. Majorly from the Niger angle, you know, where there were Nigerian-born players, Nigerian players of Nigerian heritage who actually were playing on both sides.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. Those guys actually did our country proud. I personally am proud seeing the Nigerian flag out there. See, Nigerians, we have this tendency of actually doing super things like that.
Yeah.
And you know, it makes you proud. You know, I'm just trying to recap Nick, Iman Wuri, Uchina Wosu, and Boye Mafe, you understand, doing the country proud. You know, although Donald Trump always wants to have a say, I don't know what's wrong with that man. But that's a topic for another day. I mean, but, you know, that it was so beautiful to see the Nigerian flag flying high at one of the biggest, if not the biggest sport event in the world at the moment.
Yeah, it's all about platforming the players, the people. Like it's like you said with the developing Nigerian league. If you develop it to a point, it will be visible to everybody seeing it. I think one thing that we excuse in terms of the profession of football is that we forget about the fact that you also have to make money from it as a living. So if developing footballers see that this football Nigerian league is not going to pay me anything apart from the passion, they would not want to go into it. It's the same as every other sports channel in the country. So you have to just try to develop it to a point. Then you see that other people will start following through and start trying to participate in them. All
right, we're going to ask those of you listening on the radio to join us on YouTube or Facebook, because we need to get back to regular programming on there while we continue with the program right here on YouTube. So we'll see you guys in a bit. All right, still staying there, talking Nigerian players at the Super Bowl. Cornelius already mentioned about 2 or 3 of them. Let's not forget Olusegun Oluwatimi, who played a big role, in the offensive line for the Seattle Seahawks, and of course Michael Onwenu of the Patriots. He also had a good showing and all of that. So we had a couple of Nigerians out there, either on the winning side or the losing side. And only just last week did they finally set up the proper Nigerian Federation for football, which we call American football, in Nigeria. So hopefully that this will spur them to greater heights and make them realize how important it is for us to get it right from the get. Now, moving away from the Super Bowl and all of that, we are still talking sports right here on your Boom Radio NG. There are other things for us to breeze through. Remember that Aruna Quadri is out there in Libya doing us proud. His last game that he played was a whitewash 4-0, in the men's single, and that's Aruna Quadri. Well, one or two of our players were struggling. Aruna made it to the next round.
Oh yeah, interesting. Haruna Quadri has always flown the flag of Nigeria. Well, for me, the best ever table tennis player ever to grace to come from our beloved nation, although the likes of Atonda and a lot of legends will have a lot to say about
Yomi
that.
Bankole.
Yeah, of course, we have a lot to say about that. For me, the best player ever to wear the shirt. He never disappoints, and his ranking ever improving, which shows he's still progressing as a player, as he represents the country and does us proud.
Okay, to the NPFL, where Ikorodu City FC have climbed to the top of the summit. They are topping, and it's match day 25. They won 2-0 over Niger Tornadoes, while Kano Pillars edged the Remo Stars 1-0. And those are some of the games that happened at the weekend in the NPFL. What do you guys have to say about this?
Of course, the Lagos team flying really high, but the team that has really surprised me this season is the new team. Talking about Kun Khalifat, you understand, getting some very shock results in that one. I don't know a lot about this team, but I've been impressed by this team so far.
Isn't that the same team that said they were pulling out of the league last week and they had all of us in 6s and 7s? Then they must have thought about it and known that it was going to be hard, because they were blaming the FA for finding them, the league management company for finding them. But if you didn't do something wrong, they wouldn't have fined you. And I was telling the boy here at the bar that this is what happened to stationary stores the season that they were relegated. They were actually, I think they were second or third on the log, but they missed 2 away games and they were relegated because there's a rule like that.
How did they miss 2 away games?
It was a lot of infighting. There were family issues, and because of that, stores never made it back to the top flight. NLO, NNL, and all of that. After going on years of breaks and stuff, but here we are. So I'm glad that these guys have decided to get back into the league, and hopefully they'll find a middle ground to resolve all their issues. And these are the stories that we are looking at. The other thing before we hit the road, guys.
Oh yeah, talk still on the MPFL. Fascinating results for Bendel. Of course, Kanu Pillar, Plateau United, of fortresses to go to. They all, got maximum points. And you spoke about Ikorodu City earlier. Of course, topping the league. But a fascinating game was the Wiki Tourist game against Katsina United. That one was 4-4. You hardly in an MPFL game you get 8 goals scored in a match. What a game that was.
What a game that was, and that's what happened over the weekend. Fola, anything from your end?
Nothing. Just looking forward to a wonderful match week. Man U is playing this week. First midweek game in a very, very long time. Looking forward to it.
And hopefully the man called United Strand will get to cut his hair. He has not had a haircut in over 490.
What are the chances?
400, I don't know. Is his hair?
The next fixture is against
West Ham.
On Tuesday.
West Ham away, and West Ham, aside the result where they were up and bottled that game, they've been in good form. Of course, they are in a relegation fight, a regular Premier League team, so it's going to be a very, very, very difficult
tough one.
Yeah.
All right, that's what it is. And on that note, we would like to say thank you for being a part of all of this. Shout out to the people who joined us via radio, and for those of you who are watching us online on Facebook and on YouTube, we'd like to say we'll catch you same time, same place, same station next week. And on